Every single human being on this planet is born with infinite potential. But that potential is locked behind one invisible wall, the mind barrier. It's not the lack of opportunity, not the lack of intelligence, not the lack of talent that keeps most people from moving forward. It's the programming of their subconscious mind that constantly pulls them back into what feels safe. Every time you dream of something bigger, every time you decide you're finally going to push yourself and make it happen, that inner voice whispers, "What if it doesn't work? What if you fail? What will people think?" And that whisper becomes a wall. This wall isn't physical. You can't touch it or see it, but you can feel it. It's the sudden hesitation when you're about to take a bold step, the tightness in your chest before you speak up, the flood of excuses that seem to make sense in the moment but leave you stuck in the same place. That's not laziness. It's conditioning. From the moment you were a child, your brain has been learning to associate comfort with safety. Whenever you succeeded in something small, your mind took note. Whenever you failed, it remembered the pain, the embarrassment, the disappointment, and it created a protective mechanism. So now as an adult, every time you try to do something unfamiliar, that same mechanism activates to keep you safe.
Out.
But safety is not growth. Growth requires discomfort. It requires stepping into the unknown, facing uncertainty, and trusting that the version of you that you're becoming is stronger than the version that's afraid. The human brain is a masterpiece of evolution. It's designed to predict, to protect, and to survive, but not necessarily to make you thrive. That's your job. You must become conscious enough to recognize that your brain's resistance isn't truth. It's simply a pattern repeating itself. When you wake up in the morning and feel that pull to stay in bed, when you know you should start the project but find yourself scrolling through your phone instead, you're not weak. You're operating from an automatic program. 95% of your thoughts, behaviors, and emotional responses are subconscious. That means most of what you do every day is a replay of yesterday. And if yesterday was filled with hesitation, today will be too, unless you intervene. The moment you become aware of the pattern, you have a choice. You can either let the old program run, or you can rewrite it. Awareness is the first step to transformation. When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't pause and observe that thought," ask yourself, who told me that? Where did that belief come from? Because often, the limitations you carry aren't even yours. They're inherited from parents, teachers, culture, or past failures. You've accepted someone else's definition of what's possible for you. It's been looping in your subconscious for years. Science has shown that every thought fires a network of neurons in the brain. And every time you repeat a thought, those connections grow stronger. That's how habits of thinking are formed. So, if you've spent years repeating thoughts of doubt, fear, or procrastination, those have become well-wired circuits in your brain. But here's the beauty. The brain is plastic. It can change. You can rewire it. The moment you consciously decide to think a new thought, you begin to create a new neural pathway. The more you think it, the more you feel it, the more you act on it, the stronger that pathway becomes. Pushing yourself isn't about forcing yourself to work harder. It's about teaching your mind a new way of being. It's about showing your brain that growth is safe, that action is rewarding, that discomfort is a signal of progress, not danger. Every time you push beyond the comfort zone, you're not just changing your circumstances, you're literally reshaping your brain. That's why change feels uncomfortable. It's the old wiring dissolving. Think about how many times you've told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow." Tomorrow is the language of the subconscious trying to protect you from the pain of change. But tomorrow never comes. It's always today, and the decision always lives here and now. When you push yourself in the present moment, you reclaim power from the mind that tries to control you. You stop being a victim of your thoughts and become the creator of them. You don't need to feel ready to begin. You need to begin to feel ready. The body and mind learn through experience. Once you act, once you take that first step, you give your brain evidence that it's possible, and that evidence becomes fuel for belief. The next time you hesitate, that belief pushes you forward. This is how the cycle of growth begins, by doing what the old version of you avoided. Most people think transformation happens overnight. But it doesn't. It happens the moment you recognize the voice in your head that says, "Stay comfortable," and you decide to move anyway. It happens when you break the loop of automatic thinking and introduce a new command. You can literally feel the shift, a spark of energy that wasn't there before. That spark is awareness turning into momentum. Every great achiever, every person who has changed their life, faced the same barrier you're facing. The difference is, they stopped believing the lies of their comfort zone. They stopped listening to the fear that said, "What if I fail?" and started asking, "What if I don't?" That single shift in focus changes everything. Because the moment you imagine a new possibility, your mind begins to create a path toward it. The brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality, it only knows the energy you feed it. So when you visualize yourself succeeding, when you see yourself taking the step and making it happen, your brain starts to believe it's already real. And once your mind believes, your body follows. That's how change happens, from thought to feeling to action. You reprogram the pattern of hesitation into a pattern of movement. You train your mind to see action as normal, not scary. You dissolve the mental wall that once felt impossible to climb. Because that wall was never built from stone, it was built from thoughts. Your mind is a conversation, one that never stops talking. From the moment you open your eyes in the morning to the moment you fall asleep, that inner voice narrates your life. It tells you who you are, what you can do, what's too hard, and what's not meant for you. Most people never question that voice. They assume it's truth. But what if that voice isn't truth at all? What if it's just an echo of the past, repeating beliefs that were handed down to you, reinforced by experience, and stored deep within your subconscious? That inner dialogue is not who you are. It's who you've been taught to be. And until you reprogram it, it will continue to create the same version of reality over and over again. Every thought you think sends a signal to your body. Every emotion you feel is the chemical response to that signal. Over time, these thoughts and emotions form a pattern, a feedback loop that shapes your personality, your habits, your energy, and even your results. If your internal dialogue constantly tells you that you're not good enough, that you'll never be consistent, that success is for others and not for you, then your body learns to live in alignment with that belief. You'll subconsciously act in ways that confirm it. You'll hesitate when opportunity appears. You'll sabotage progress because the voice inside you doesn't believe you belong at the next level. But the mind can be reprogrammed. Every time you speak to yourself, you're giving your brain instructions. The problem is, most people speak instructions of limitation, not creation. They say things like, "I can't," "I'm trying," "I hope it works," or "it's too late for me." And the brain listens. It obeys. It begins to wire those phrases as commands. The brain doesn't question. It follows. So if you keep telling yourself stories of limitation, your nervous system will respond as though those limitations are facts. Your energy will match your words. To change your life, you must first change your internal language. When you shift from saying, "I can't," to "I can," from "I hope" to "I will," you're not just playing with words, you're rewiring your identity. The subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. It accepts whatever it's told repeatedly and emotionally. That means every affirmation, every thought charged with emotion, every time you visualize your success and feel it deeply, you're teaching your subconscious a new truth. This is where true transformation begins, in repetition and emotion. It's not enough to simply think positive thoughts once in a while. You must feel the new truth in your body. You must train your inner voice to sound like the version of you who's already achieved what you desire. Speak to yourself as though you've already become that person. Because the moment your inner language matches the identity of your vision, your reality begins to align with it. When you say, "I am confident," even when you feel fear, your body starts to adapt. When you say, "I am disciplined," even when the old habits call your name, your brain starts searching for evidence to support that identity. This is how reprogramming works. The thought comes first, the emotion follows, the behavior shifts, and the external world catches up. But most people wait for the world to change before changing their words. They say, "I'll believe it when I see it." Yet the truth is, you'll see it when you believe it. Your inner dialogue is the script of your life. If the script is full of doubt, your performance will reflect that. If the script is written with power, belief, and certainty, then your life will begin to unfold accordingly. Think of your thoughts as seeds. The soil doesn't decide what grows, it simply gives life to whatever is planted. Your subconscious mind is that soil. Whatever you plant through repetition and emotion, it will nurture into reality. So if you keep planting thoughts of failure, fear, or limitation, you'll keep reaping experiences that match those thoughts. But the moment you plant thoughts of abundance, resilience, and belief, your outer world begins to reflect that new inner reality. There's something remarkable that happens. When you start speaking to yourself differently, the brain releases new chemicals, new electrical patterns form, and your energy shifts. You begin to stand taller, breathe deeper, and make decisions from a higher frequency of confidence. You start noticing opportunities that were always there but invisible to the old version of you. That's because your mind filters your reality based on what you believe. It deletes everything that doesn't match your story. Change the story, and you change what you see. This is why awareness is power. When you become aware of your internal conversation, you can begin to catch the lies your subconscious has been feeding you. The moment you notice yourself thinking, "I can't do this," stop and observe it. Whose voice is that? Is it yours, or is it the echo of fear, failure, or someone else it out? That question interrupts the pattern, and every interruption weakens the old program. Reprogramming isn't a one-time act. It's a daily practice. It happens when you choose faith over fear, consistency over comfort, creation over complaint. It happens when you replace thoughts of resistance with thoughts of possibility. At first, your mind will argue. It will tell you the new beliefs are lies. That's because your brain has spent years wiring the old ones. But every time you repeat the new dialogue, every time you feel its truth in your heart and act accordingly, you weaken the old neural connections and strengthen the new ones. Eventually, the voice that once said, "I can't," begins to whisper, "I can." The dialogue that once doubted your worth begins to affirm it. You start hearing a different narrative, one that supports your goals instead of sabotaging them. This is how you step into the driver's seat of your own mind. This is how you stop reacting to life and start creating it. Because when you master your inner dialogue, you no longer need the world to motivate you. Your thoughts become your power source. Your emotions become your compass. And your voice becomes the guide that leads you to the life you were meant to live. Every human being is a transmitter of energy. Every thought you think produces a frequency, and every emotion you feel sends a signal into the field around you. That energy doesn't just stay within you, it interacts with the world, with people, with opportunities, and with outcomes. Most people don't realize that their emotional state is the invisible force shaping the quality of their lives. They try to change their actions, their habits, their routines, but they never shift the emotional energy that drives them. You cannot live an extraordinary life while vibrating at an ordinary frequency. Your emotions are not random reactions. They are creative instructions being sent out to the universe, commanding what experiences will come back to you. Think about the times you felt inspired, passionate, alive. It feels as though everything flows effortlessly. Opportunities appear, ideas spark, and even challenges seem manageable. That's not coincidence. That's coherence. Your mind and heart are aligned. The energy you emit is in harmony with what you want to attract. On the other hand, when you're frustrated, anxious, or filled with doubt, your energy field contracts. You operate in survival mode. The body tightens, the breath shortens, and your thoughts spiral in limitation. From that state, even the best opportunities can pass unnoticed because you are not energetically available to receive them. The truth is, emotion is the bridge between your thoughts and your reality. You can think positive all day long, but if you feel fear, unworthiness, or lack, your energy contradicts your intentions. The universe doesn't respond to what you think, it responds to what you feel. That's why most people find themselves stuck despite working hard or saying affirmations. Their conscious mind says, "I want success," but their emotional state whispers, "I don't believe it." till the emotional frequency matches the thought. The signal you send out remains incoherent, like static on a radio channel, to create a new reality. You must generate a new emotional state before the result appears. This is where most people struggle because they wait for something external to change how they feel. They think they'll feel successful once they get the promotion, happy once they meet the right person, peaceful once everything in life goes right. But the law of energy works in reverse. You must feel it first for it to show up. You have to become the emotion of the experience before the experience arrives. When you can feel gratitude before you receive, confidence before you succeed, and joy before the outcome, you are training your body to live in the future rather than the past. Motivation is a spark, but it's not the fire. The fire is built through daily action, through repetition, through showing up when your feelings tell you not to. Most people rely on motivation to push them forward, but motivation is temporary. It's an emotion that rises and falls like a wave. You can't depend on something that fluctuates with your mood, your environment, or your circumstances. Real transformation happens when you stop waiting to feel ready and start acting from a state of commitment. The truth is, motivation might get you started, but it's discipline and alignment that carry you to the finish line. You see, the body and mind are in constant communication. When you decide to take action despite resistance, you're teaching your body a new command. You're saying we no longer live by fear, we live by intention every time. You push yourself to move forward even when you don't feel like it. You're breaking an old pattern. You're building new neural pathways that associate effort with empowerment rather than discomfort. At first, your body will fight back. It will come up with excuses. I'm tired. I'll start tomorrow. I don't have enough time. But those are just echoes of your old identity trying to protect itself. The moment you move anyway, the energy begins to shift. There's a rhythm to creation, thought, emotion, action. Most people stop at the first two. They think about what they want. They might even feel excited about it, but they never take consistent steps toward it. They're trapped in the loop of intention without execution. But action is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. Without it, dreams remain concepts in the mind. Action is what transforms a thought into a tangible reality. It's the language the universe understands. You can't just wish for change. You must behave as the version of yourself who already has it. When your actions match your intentions, you become a magnet for everything you visualized. The secret is to shift from motivation-based action to identity-based action. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel like it. Identity says, this is who I am, so this is what I do. When you identify as someone disciplined, committed, and purposeful, action becomes automatic. It stops being a debate. You no longer negotiate with your mind every morning. You simply follow through because it's part of who you are. This is how the greatest performers, athletes, and creators operate. They don't wait to feel inspired. They've trained themselves to act regardless of emotion. They've learned that emotion follows action, not the other way around. Imagine waking up and deciding that no matter what your circumstances are, you'll take one step forward toward your goal. That one small action sends a signal to your subconscious that says, we are moving. Once that signal is consistent, your brain begins to align your focus, energy, and creativity with your direction. You start noticing solutions instead of problems. You start seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. This is how action reshapes perception. It shifts you from a passive observer of life to an active creator of it. But action isn't about forcing yourself through pain. It's about aligning with purpose. When your reason is strong enough, resistance loses power. Ask yourself why your goal matters. When the why becomes emotional, personal, and urgent, action becomes natural. You stop chasing motivation because you're driven by meaning. The mind might still whisper doubts, but your heart knows where it's going. The energy of purpose is more powerful than the voice of fear. There will be days when it feels like nothing is working, when you give your all and see no results. Those are the moments that test who you are becoming. Most people quit because they expect instant outcomes. They plant the seed and stare at the soil, forgetting that growth happens beneath the surface first. The roots form before the flower blooms. Action works the same way. Every effort you make, every disciplined moment, every small step is building momentum in the unseen. The results might not appear immediately, but the transformation is already in motion. You must learn to fall in love with the process rather than the outcome, because the process is where identity is formed. Every time you push through resistance, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than your mind believes. You begin to trust yourself, and self-trust is the foundation of unstoppable confidence. When you know you'll show up for yourself no matter what, you stop waiting for external validation. You stop needing praise, approval, or perfect timing. You become self-sustained,